Welcome to Soundcheck with Pastor Isaac. This is our last segment, this time with Aaron. He's been here for 3 weeks now. Wait, 1, 2, there we go, 3 weeks. And so we're so excited that Aaron was able to have the opportunity to come on and to be a part of Soundcheck with you all. Please let somebody know he's on. Don't let him up. Come on here and say all these wonderful things and then you miss it because you don't share it with somebody or you forget to tell them about it. So let them know Aaron is back for one more week only for now. But hopefully he can come back again soon. Aaron, greet the people again, brother.
Morning, everybody. Happy to see you as always.
And we're going to continue to talk about, in fact, we were talking about Second Chronicles, I believe, is what Aaron is looking at right now.
Right.
A lot of times we have spiritual battles that go in our life, but sometimes you have physical things that are going on with your body or going on in your community, going on with your job. There's fights and things going on, not necessarily people throwing fists, but there are spiritual battles going on. But in Chronicles, we actually saw that there were people fighting, lives being lost, land being conquered, different things going on with that. And so I wanted Aaron to come on and just talk about some of his experiences, some things that God has given him insight on. So
Sure.
Aaron, go ahead and jump in from there.
Yeah, just like my dad was talking about, currently I'm in Second Chronicles. I've been doing just kind of more recently, a cover-to-cover audiobook of the Bible. I'm 34 years old. I was born and raised in the church. I've probably heard almost every story at some point, at some service, but what I wanted to do was kind of listen to everything from start to finish, just to say I've done it. I've always wanted to, and I've always, forgive me, always put it on the back burner of I don't have time right now, but I'm making time. So it's been a great journey. Right now, Second Chronicles, like my father said, it's a lot of, the reign of Saul, King David, and then his son, Solomon, and just the battles that they fought, and then just kind of the lineage of kind of kings from there. There's been a lot of battles between not only the Israelites and the Philistines, but it's also been kind of different tribes in the Israelites have kind of turned away from God, and some of them have been given into the hand of the other, saying that, hey, I God am putting them into the hands of you. They haven't been listening, wipe them out. I'd say one thing is, the battles, they can be from losing thousands to tens to hundreds of thousands. Some of them have been catastrophic. One thing that I noticed, though, is just from listening to the battles and hearing the victories, there's a part of it that personally I have never thought about.
Okay.
For instance, they'll say, in a battle, the Israelites prevailed and there was hundreds of thousands of the enemy delivered into their hand.
Okay.
That's hundreds of thousands of the enemy defeated, and we're victorious. But what we kind of don't think about, because it's not really written, is we're still flesh, we're still human.
Right.
We aren't superheroes, we aren't invincible. With the hands of 100,000 lost, there was probably a good amount of thousands of Israelites lost. The name of Israel was victorious. But some Israelites died, and that's something I just, never really thought about. It was like, even in victories, thought about, mom,
Right.
My mother, Tanya, she transitioned to be with the Lord,
Right.
in 2024. And it was like, she's a victorious warrior.
Right.
That's what is said on her headstone. And,
Right.
she won her battle.
Right.
She lost her life. But she did not lose her life to cancer, she did not lose her life to the enemy.
Right.
Her name carried on. She's passed on so many words of knowledge and just life experiences and God's word to so many children who've grown to adults who've passed it to children.
That's true.
So that ratio of, her life was, tragically lost to cancer. She was victorious.
Right.
And God's name was victorious with what she did, and she completed her mission. Just something I just thought about.
I'm glad you said that. That's so important. Mom was I call her mom for the kids, but my wife Tanya, she was an advocate for kids. She do anything for them, and Aaron can testify to this. She was in charge of the children's ministry for many years. As long as they've been alive, she was in charge of it, and any of their toys were fair play to be a part of the lesson. And so she would grab their toys. They're like, wait, that's mine. You'll get it back. But she was able to teach kids about who God was. And that was her passion, to make sure that they didn't just remember a song or a play or a puppet show, but they remembered who God was. And so I'm glad that you mentioned that. There are so many that have grown up now. They have kids too now, but they also have God in their life, because she was a victorious warrior, and she was fighting that they would know who God was, no matter what the cost.
Mm-hmm. And I'd say the cost doesn't always have to be someone's life. It could be anything. Just going back to when you said the friend that I would bring to church who would borrow my clothes. Mm-hmm. I was a pretty fit guy in high school, but that guy was a little more fit, bigger than me. Some of my clothes, might have been ruined or stretched out. So you could say, the clothes was lost, but at the same time, the battle was won, because that person gave their life to Christ, and that's his soul, that was won. Mm-hmm. Did I lose something? Absolutely. But in that process, I was victorious, with bringing someone to Christ. Right. So just looking at life, just random instances, you might have, your house might have burned down. You might have totaled your vehicle. You might have been hospitalized, or just anything, tragic or random that could have happened to you that wasn't great. But if you were able to witness to someone, bring them to Christ, and they were able to bring a family, or, that ratio just starts to add, like, hey, I lost this, but in doing so, somebody and their family and their friends gained the world. They were not the world, but gained, Christ. Mm-hmm. So just thinking of those battles that are victorious sometimes have, physical costs.
Right.
But the insight is, we won.
There's a verse that talks about nobody engages in battle without counting the cost first. They need to know that if we do this, this might be collateral damage, but in the end, I'm going to be victorious. And so they take that to consideration before they engage in this battle. Some people foolishly say, we're going for it, and they don't make it because they shouldn't have went for it. Let's put Custer as a person in particular that did that. Mm-hmm. Charge! Mm-hmm. And man, he had his number read.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah, like you said, that having that I guess I want to call it arrogance of just saying, like, I'm in charge, I know this, I can win this. Having the mentality of Saul, after he lost his anointment. It's just, having that confidence, like, you might win, but what you lose in the process, hopefully not your soul, but what you lose in the process might not be worth it. Versus if you're doing God's calling, okay, I might walk away losing this or not having this, but ultimately you're winning, the spiritual battle that God put in front of you.
Right.
So, and then just like you said, looking at the physical aspect, my dad mentioned before that, I'm in the military and things like that. And, obviously war comes at a high price. We lose sons and daughters, we lose young members. But, hopefully, USA, hopefully we're victorious in winning those battles. But you do have to realize that, we're human. We're not always going to walk away like Superman, winning the battle without a scratch. But just knowing that sometimes that you're going to walk away, scarred from this and that, but ultimately you're victorious, and just kind of knowing how to, go about winning the battle.
There's another verse that says, many are the afflictions of the righteous, which means we're going to be going through some stuff. There's a lot of stuff that's going to be happening to you. Just because you get saved doesn't mean it's going to be peaches and cream and ice cream and roses every day.
Right.
But it says, but God will deliver us from them all. That's the second part of that paraphrase verse. Right. Yeah, we're going to have some battles. We're going to have some scars. We're going to have some hurts. We're going to have some pain. But in the end, it said that these things are actually momentary. Because when we get to the other side of this thing, it's so much sweeter on that side, because God has already provided everything that we need in the heavenlies for us. Mm-hmm. But he said that we can also have victory now. We can also be live an abundant life now. So we're not just waiting for a great by and by. we know that on this side, God is also going to cause us to be victorious
Right.
in some things. We still may have the scars, but we will be victorious if we keep trusting Him. That's the whole thing. We have to have faith.
Yeah, have to have faith. You have to go, like Pastor Isaac, my dad said, you have to go through every battle, not just, I'm going to win eventually, it's going to be victorious, but just knowing already that you've won and knowing that, your victory will be celebrated at the end, but you're celebrating every step of the way because you know God's already delivered whatever it is into your hand and that you're going to be victorious.
Yeah, that's good, Aaron. I'm glad that he's had the opportunity to come on and talk to you all about the military side of things, because I don't have that experience, but he has had that trench mentality where we're in there. There's one way out, and that's victory. And if we can't go backwards, would you say that you can't have a mentality of I give up?
Oh, you can't. No. It's funny you mentioned the trench thing. I actually led and taught a course of trench warfare one time. And you can't give up. The first step is it's going to hurt, but you have to get a foothold. Mm-hmm. A foothold meaning you think of it like a door. If a door closes, you can't get in. There's no door handle on your side, you can't get in. But if you put your foot in that doorway and the door closes, you now have a foothold and you have an entryway. And like you said, you have to open that door and you have to go through. You know what's on the other side, and you know it's not going to be a pretty sight. But you already know at the end of that door, I'm looking at victory. So you just have to push through, like you said, with life, with whatever it could be, rain or sunshine. It's going to be okay because you're going to be victorious because God's already said so.
Right, and we're not by ourselves. We're never alone. There's always your battle buddy with you. You got your saints that are with you. You got your prayer partners. You got most of us spouses. And you got children that pray for you too. Did you know your kids pray for you? Mm-hmm. I know we definitely pray for them, but you're not alone. And a lot of times that's where the encouragement will come when somebody else knows that this isn't done by ourselves. We have somebody with us.
Right.
And more than that, Christ is always with us. We're never alone. He says He'll never leave us or forsake us.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Yep.
Yeah, Aaron, thank you again, man, for coming on again to give us some more encouragement. This will probably be our last segment for a while. Hopefully he'll be back on before the end of the year, and maybe some of my other kids will come on and they can do a segment together. But I just wanted you to hear the gospel from a different perspective, from a younger mind. Like you said, he's 34. You know how old I am. If you count on your fingers, you might add it up someday. But Aaron is somebody that you can trust because I've known him all his life. He's been honest, and he's been a person that I've trusted and that I've been able to put confidence in. So I hope that you heard the words that he had to say, because the words that he's saying, they're true. And it's from his perspective, but it's the testimony that God has given to him. And it says that we have overcome by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of our testimony. So this is Aaron's testimony. I want you to take it to heart. If you didn't see last week or the week before that, I want you to binge watch it and check it out. The episodes that he's on, I want you to make sure that you share it and let somebody else know that Aaron was on and that he is a man of God and he can be trusted to hear the side of the military mind. Aaron, any last words before you go?
No, Dad, I appreciate the kind words. Thank you for having me on. Like you said, don't forget to tune in. Don't forget to share it with a friend. Don't hesitate to drop a comment. I'd love to read and see what you all think.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Aaron.
Yeah, Dad,
God bless you, man.
I'd shake your hand, but...
Well, let's shake hands so they can see us move on camera. All right, everybody. We'll see you next time.